Second. The 10 o'clock. Welcome to the CC meeting for February 25th. Being joined for pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning. Agenda approval.
Commissioners, I have no changes to the agenda as presented.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second. First and second. Any other discussion? Call for the vote.
Commissioner Wardell,
Yes.
Commissioner Chamberlain,
Yes.
Chairman Spillier.
Yes.
Motion passes.
And consent agenda.
All right, on today's consent agenda, I have the meeting minutes from February 18th. I have a new hire in the treasurer's office, Cheyenne Grego. I have a new hire in dispatch, Kiana Lopez. The completion of a probationary period for Karina Sierra. Motion for Dia Weller. Rescission of an offer for Rama Siddiqui. A resignation from the sheriff's office for Dan Matthews. And a sick time notifications for Allison Crisp and Hallie Coulter.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
First and second. Do you have any discussion? Call for the vote.
Commissioner Chamberlain,
Yes.
Commissioner Widow,
Yes.
Chairman Spillier.
Yes.
Motion passes.
This time we'll come to public comment. Please state your name for the record. Here and online as well. Yeah, online. Okay, we'll start off in-house. Ryan, could you come to the podium and state your name and address for the record?
Good morning, commissioners, staff. Thank you. Ryan Geese, Gies, 61 County Road 358 in Butte. I really respect the form of government that we have here, and I believe that all of our government starts here at our local level, and I appreciate all of you guys for that. In that regard, this morning I chose not to rise for our pledge of allegiance. Yesterday, our country voted against the resolution or with, I'm not really sure, I haven't researched, so let me just kind of write with that the Russian Federation is not responsible for the war in Ukraine. Believe what you want about the President of the United States and the policies that he runs. This is something as an admission or a denial of a fact of international war, and that is unacceptable to me. I just wanted to be here on record to say that starts here at our level. You guys are all Republicans. This is the party that you stand for. We can not deny the fact of the war. We can remove ourselves from international war if that's what we choose, but we cannot deny that Russia started this war. And that's my statement here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you. And online, good. Gail. Hello. Can you unmute your phone or? You can't see what's going on.
It's like Gail and
She's still muted.
Oh.
Gail and Gail and for that.
You want to skip ahead and go to Dale?
Okay, yeah, Dale.
Okay, it took me a minute to unmute.
There you are. Good morning, Dale.
Good morning. I would like to put before the county commissioners how we could get the campaign signage for the county in line with the signage regulations in Walsenburg. That that candidate signage should only be up for 60 days before the election and taken down, what is it, 30 days afterwards or 2 weeks afterwards. I'd like to see the county in line with the regulations that Walsenburg has. And I don't know how to initiate that. And that's why I'm putting it before the commissioners.
So that's been brought to my attention as well. The research I did on it was it has to be with code enforcement. So code enforcement has to enforce it depending on where the signage is in the county. So if it's city limits, the city code enforcement enforces the code. And if it's state, like on a state highway, the state level will enforce the code. If it's on a county road, county will do the code enforcement. So they just have to look up which code and who's going to enforce that.
Okay.
Did you hear that, Dale?
Kind of. It just explained who would be responsible for enforcement, which is always the biggest issue with anything like this.
So what Erica said is it would be code enforcement. So that would mean that it'd probably be somewhere in the land use code that change would have to be made.
Do we present it at planning and zoning as a possible modification or revamping of our signage regulations now? And is that where we would start in planning and zoning?
I'm gonna take advantage of Nate's presence here and ask him, can we even regulate political signage as a county?
I'm sorry, what kind of signage?
Political campaign signage.
Just to keep it 100 feet from the polling place.
That's it.
And limit how long after an election it can stay up on property.
So that's the
That's a query.
that's what Dale's talking about, is how long can it stay up after, before an election on public property. So and that would go to land use, right? The planning and zoning, or is this a separate resolution?
It'd be code enforcement. Someone violating the code on how long the sign can stay up, they can write the ticket.
So yeah, I would say planning and zoning is where that would start.
Paula, there's something about this room and mixed mic tinnitus. I just hearing.
Yeah, so that'd be planning and zoning, land use. We'd have to collaborate with them to figure out which way to get them together. I'm not familiar with what the two different dates are. Do you remember?
I don't remember the names.
If it's 30 days or 90 days or whatever it is.
For Walsenburg, it's 60 days before, and I think 30 days after. And the county has no limit, is my understanding.
Levita has their own.
Yeah,
So-
Levita is
so
completely
It just
different.
has to be enforced by
Each,
the boundaries. And I mean, I went above and beyond to make sure with the state of Colorado and worked with other counties to make sure, and it's all to do with our code. You know, how we enforce that and what's written. So yeah, it would be something that maybe you two collaborate with land use and look up those codes and ordinances and
get some at least more
and see what-
unified,
what you can do.
uniform. All right, we'll look into it. Anything else, Dale?
No, if we could present that at planning and zoning as a project at our next meeting, which is the beginning of March. We're working on two different things now. So as long as it gets a place in the line of discussions, that would be a good thing.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you for your time. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any other comments?
It looks like Gail.
Did Gail still?
I'm still here, yes.
Oh, there you are. We can hear you now. Go ahead, Gail.
Okay, sorry about that. Good morning. I'm Gail Meisinger. I live in Gardner. Thank you for your time. I would like to ask if the commissioners have a response to the concerns raised in the letter from the Kuchara Foundation, which is item 8A in your correspondence section, or if there will be a public response prepared to that letter.
We did receive that letter, I believe, And we will be addressing it later in the meeting.
Okay, I know oftentimes things that are in the correspondence section are not discussed, so I wanted to ask if that was going to be part of this meeting.
It is listed in our correspondence.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? In-house or online? Okay, we'll move on to appointments. Is Tracy on? Oh, sorry, I didn't see it. Hey, hi, Tracy. Tracy Gutierrez, from Colorado Economic Development.
Good morning. Good morning, commissioners. Good morning, everyone. My name is Tracy Gutierrez, and I'm with Southern Colorado Economic Development District. We're the Economic Development District serving Huerfano County. We actually serve 13 counties throughout Southern Colorado. We've been in existence and since the 1960s. Our office is based out of Pueblo, but we don't spend a whole lot of time in the office. So I've been with the organization 2.5 years, and one of the counties that I am responsible for is Huerfano County. I've met with, I know Commissioner Sporlander, but I haven't met with the other two of you. So it's our responsibility to provide updates. So that's what I'm here to do today on behalf of our organization. So we are a nonprofit organization, and we are the designated economic development district for our area. So we work with the EDA, and one of the projects here in Huerfano County that I hope you are familiar with is the Wheelhouse Business Incubator. And that's a project that we've been working with you all on for the past 2 years. So we worked on that grant application, and then we also do the grant administration. So we work closely with Kim and Carl and with Carlton as well on that project. So that was one thing I wanted to be sure I touched on. But in addition to the Wheelhouse project, we were awarded the funds for the regional grant navigator position during the latter part of 2024. That position is specific to grant opportunities through the IIJA and IRA funds. So SCED was given that role for Huerfano County, also for Pueblo and Los Animas counties, because they wanted to have an organization or an individual that could be that key point of contact for those grant opportunities. So we are that point of contact for the county. We've talked with Carl about it as well. So I wanted to make you aware of that there's funding opportunities there. From what we know right now, we are still able to apply for those funds. We're still kind of working through some of those issues with federal funding, but we've been told to proceed and continue to move forward. So our role is to help identify projects with you all and with your partnership, and to help apply for that funding throughout the coming year. Another item that I just wanted to touch upon to make you aware of, and I'll when I leave, I'll leave you with a couple of packets. So one thing that SCED is responsible for is the annual CEDS process, which is the Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy for our region. That process is done every 5 years. So we are moving into our planning for our next CEDS, because the last one was completed in 2021. So that identifies economic development priorities, and we go county by county. So because we serve such a large geographic area, we have to have this completed in mid-2026, but we're starting now so that we can give proper attention to each and every county. So the importance of that process is, in order to apply for EDA funding, you do have to have an active CEDS in place. So it's to the benefit of the county to have that document in place. That document is our responsibility, and it's our responsibility to work with you all on the creation and the updates for that document. So what I've brought today that I will leave with you is what was in the past SEDS document. So you can see some of those priorities that were identified. A few things that that I went through, and I was not there when we did the last SEDS, but obviously broadband is something that's top of mind in each and every county we work in. The industrial park, critical infrastructure, housing, parks and recreation, and healthcare. And those were just some of the items listed. They are listed out project by project. What we will do to get the SEDS up and running is in July and August, I'll be visiting all of the counties that I serve, including Huerfano County. We'll be setting up stakeholder meetings to get feedback, conduct a SWOT analysis, look at where some of those current projects are at, and what we can do to be of support moving forward. Because the last SEDS was completed in 2020. Obviously, it went into effect 2021. So a lot of things were very different at that time. So I wanted to make you aware that you'll be hearing from myself and Leslie Mastriani, our executive director, as we begin to set up those stakeholder meetings. So we'll probably conduct a couple, and we'll look at the various constituencies that we want to be sure we receive feedback from. I know that I heard Carl touch upon the congressionally directed spending. So I won't touch upon that because I know we're both familiar with that, but that information was just released. And then also the call that's coming up on Thursday with DOLA. Is it DOLA?
Governor's office.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we have that as well. So we'll be part of that. And let's see, a couple other things. Oh, a couple other things that I just wanted to make you aware of when we talk about the importance of an economic development district for our region and for your county. So in late 2024, the Economic Development Administration was reauthorized for the first time in 20 years, which was a big success for our organization and for economic development throughout the U.S. So we can continue that important work that we do in support of our counties. The priorities that were identified in that document were critical infrastructure, workforce, innovation and entrepreneurship, economic recovery, resilience, and manufacturing. One other item before I take any questions, if we have time, if y'all have any questions, but one other item that I wanted to bring to your attention was OEDIT recently provided the opportunity to apply for some funding for a workforce talent summit, and they're doing them by region in the spring of this year. So coincidentally enough, the region that SCED serves are 13 counties, which include Huerfano, Los Animas, and then as far west as Lake County, Pueblo, obviously, and out to the Eastern Plains. So the region that OEDIT was looking at serving with this Workforce Summit was the exact region that SCED serves. It was all of our 13 counties. So we did receive the award for the funding to host a Workforce Summit, and we'll be hosting that in Pueblo April 2nd. At the convention center. You all will be receiving that information. And the thought process behind that is to look at the workforce needs for our region and have county leaders, education, the leading employers throughout the region, everybody in the same room. So attendance is limited to 100 people so that there can be some productive conversations that come out of that. And then there will also be a 2 to 5 year workforce plan that will come out of that conversation as well, that you'll have input into that plan. You'll have access to that plan. Hopefully we can look at some funding for various needs throughout the region, but we're really excited that SCED was awarded that funding so that we can host that in Pueblo. It'll be either from 9 to 3:30 or from 10 to 3:30, but they're still finalizing the invitation. So I wanted to give you a heads up about that as well. And then I do have packets I'll leave for you that includes our latest newsletter, which you should receive electronically as well. But I did bring you a hard copy, and it's also a printout of the priorities from that last SEDS process. So you can review that at your leisure. I didn't want to go through each and every one, but when we do conduct the stakeholder meetings in the summer, we will send out a pre-survey so that we can look at some of those things that have changed, some of those priorities that have been identified, and prepare for a productive meeting and conversation about what your SED should include and what it should look like. So, so with that, I'm very happy to be here. I always love to come and visit Huerfano County. The mountains were gorgeous when I was driving this morning, but I'm happy to take any questions if you have any.
Do you have how many are in that, that workforce? Or are you looking at it that's going to be in that workforce application? Do you?
The summit. So we already applied and received the funding because the funding is to host the event. But then the event itself is limited to 100 attendees from folks throughout our region. So county commissioners, economic development folks. So it'll be, we want to be sure we have the correct decision makers at the table. So that's, So we've received the funding, and it's really, that initial funding was to put on the event and coordinate the event. So
That sounds wonderful.
and we're really excited. Is there other questions or anything specific to SCED? I don't know how familiar the newer commissioners are with the organization, but you'll be seeing me since I'm the contact for Huerfano County. So.
I don't have any questions. I'm, not too familiar with it, so I appreciate the time you took to show us, and I look forward to working with you.
Thank you. Thank you. Looking forward to working with the two of you. One thing I did want to touch on, I did see that you are delegating Carlton again to sit on our board of directors, and we're really excited about that. I've been working with them quite a bit since I started at SCED. Just so you're aware, you do have 2 seats on our board of directors from the county. So if a commissioner or someone else would like to be delegated, we meet quarterly, and those meetings are done virtually. So just a heads up on that as well. But of course, we'll take Carlton as well.
We had just discussed that. I think Carl will be our appointee.
I'll be on that.
Oh, wonderful. Great.
The
Well,
first
we're-
one I only will be on for the first half hour because I have a meeting right after that, but after that should be good.
Great. Well, we're looking forward to having you. Thank
Excellent.
you. Let us
Appreciate
know
it.
if you need anything in the meantime. And then can I just have, can I,
Yeah, go ahead. And
Oh,
bring it
yeah.
up. You can bring it up. That's fine.
so, and there's my card. So if you need anything, just let me know.
You
Nice
still
to
have my
see
number?
you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tristan.
And I don't know if there's, if you have any other questions, but if not, I thank you very much for your time. I'm going to run down and check on our progress at the wheelhouse.
Sounds good.
Great.
I
Thank you
appreciate
all.
it.
Have a
Thank you
good
very much.
day.
Thanks for
Thank you.
coming. And next, we have Chelsea. There she is.
Nice to see you guys again.
Hello.
Hello. So for those of you guys who don't know, my name is Chelsea Meese. I am the systems coordinator for the unhoused for both Los Angeles and Huerfano counties. In my last appearance here, I told you guys a little bit about myself as well as the point in time count that we were going to be completing. I have the results for those for you today. So I'm going to pass these around. I'm going to keep one for myself. Thank you. You're welcome. It is a front and back sheet because you have Huerfano County on one side, Los Animas County on the other side. And the one thing that I want to note before we dive into this is that for Los Animas County, I had a volunteer set of 11 different individuals. For Huerfano County, I was the one counting. I want to shout out Sherry and Ryan for giving me the info on where to go. Sherry spent a couple hours with me, taking me out and about, and then Robert happily sponsored our event to be able to count individuals. So in Huerfano County, we counted 26 adults and added 16 individuals to our by name list. The difference in those numbers comes from the fact that some of those individuals are youth, in which we counted 2 of those youth, and then some of those individuals were just observed versus just giving us their information. So if they gave us their information, they have been added to our by name list. And on that, we have 11 men, 5 women, a mixture of races and ethnicities, but the age currently on the streets out here and in, I did count one from Levita, are 15 to 68. That is a difference from Los Animas County where theirs goes from 1 to 73. So I do feel like we're pretty accurate on that. I know one of the things that we talk about when we talk about homelessness is why not just go get a job? So currently, 5 of the individuals on the streets are currently employed. 8 of them are seeking employment, and the 3 who aren't are currently disabled or have a chronic health condition. There is one individual out here who is retired. He is that 68-year-old and also disabled on that as well. You have 2 veterans out there, 4 individuals seeking recovery, and 14 of them have been on the streets for over a year. So that's what we would consider chronic homelessness at that point. And then you can see a little word bubble there about what they are looking for. The number one thing that people are looking for is employment. And so I'm going to give you some statistics about Los Animas County from the most recent 2025 rural health update, which includes Los Animas County and Huerfano County both being tied for number 1 for unemployment. So not only do we have individuals on the streets who want to work, there's nowhere for them to work. One of the bigger issues with some of those on the streets are that they are felons. So if there's anything that you guys can do as a Board of County Commissioners to increase employment opportunities within the county, not just for unhoused individuals, but for every community member. We're thinking low barrier to entry-level jobs, those who will hire felons, those kinds of things. That is going to be a step in the right direction. But a couple more statistics for Huerfano County. So we also have the number 1 highest percentage of renters spending 35% of their income on rent. So those who do have jobs, those who do have houses, are also barely making it by. You have the number 1 county for the highest percentage covered by Medicare, the number 1 county for the highest drug overdose emergency room visits. Los Animas County was shocked that they were number 3. I was a little bit more shocked that we were number 1. Number 2 for the counties with the highest population over 65, which makes me think if 33.6% are over the age of 65 and the life expectancy is 74 in this county, what happens in 10, 15 years when all of these individuals are gone? Does this become a ghost town? What happens here? Number 2 for heart attacks in the state. Number 3 for highest opioid prescribing counties. Number 3 for highest rate of veterans. Number 5 for highest rate of opioid overdoses. Number 5 for having 1 in every 3 children living in poverty. 20 to 25% of the total population is facing poverty, and it's top 2 for lowest hourly wage. So when we talk about things that contribute to individuals being unhoused, those are just some of the factors that take away from the fact of, hey, go get a job, hey, get off of substances. Those also are individuals who don't have options for treatment. Just like Los Animas County, individuals here are being sent to Pueblo, to the Springs, to outside of the county for treatment. So I do know that some of you are new commissioners here, so I'm not going to dig into you for what has happened in the past, but I am going to ask you that we do better in the future now that we know better and now that we have options to do better. So currently, I am mobilizing volunteers here. Every time I go and I tell somebody what I'm doing, they're like, how can I help? How can I jump in? And so what I'm doing in both counties is I'm hosting individual events called A Home for Everyone, where all volunteers can come together, learn what we're doing. I can put people in places that they best fit. And so I want to come back and tell you guys more about that. We are currently planning location and information for that. But as we move forward, I would like to request a sponsorship for said event, since it will be for all community members to attend, of a minimum of $250. You don't have to give me an answer now, since I will be back before that event, but I will also open it up to questions because that is a lot of information in a very short amount of time. So.
Well, that's quite amazing. Do you have a website that has any of the information you just shared with us? Like specifically the list of number 1 and number 3 and all of that.
So it's technically like a 104-page document that got released a couple weeks ago. I can send that to you guys. Just you can look it over, and then I'll pull out. I already pulled out the stats for both counties, and I'll send those as well.
That'd be great.
Yeah,
I'd like to see that. I couldn't make sense to them. So.
I will say there were good things in that, like our food insecurity did drop a little bit in there. So I am just giving you the information that is affecting our unhoused individuals and our community as a whole. But there are strides being made. So I would like to continue that momentum as possible.
Excellent.
Cool. Thank you.
Well, appreciate it. Doing a lot of work here. You've done a lot since the last time we talked.
I know, I've only been here for a month and a half, guys.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's nice.
Yeah, I honestly could not have done half of the things here for that count so quickly if it wasn't for your county team. So I appreciate them and thank you guys for having them here.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You
Thank you,
guys have a
Chelsea.
good rest
Thank you
of
for all
your.
your hard work.
Thank you. Have a good rest of your day, guys.
All right. You too. Okay. On to permits, licenses.
Skip right on to action items.
On to action. Okay. On to action items.
All right, commissioners, first I have for you resolution number 25-10, a resolution appointing Ryan Geis to Huerfano County Building Authority Board for a term expiring on December 31st, 2027.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution number 25-10, appointing Ryan Geis to and Building Authority for expiring on December 31st.
Second.
First and second. Any other discussion? Call for the vote.
Commissioner Chamberlain,
Yes.
Commissioner Wardell,
Yes.
Chairman Board Leader,
Yes.
motion passes. Next I have for you resolution number 25-11, a resolution appointing Carlton Croft to the Board of Directors for the Southern Colorado Economic Development District for a term expiring on December 31st, 2026.
I make a motion to accept resolution number 25-11, appointing Carl Croft to the Board of Directors for the Southern Colorado Economic Development District for a term expiring on December 31st, 2026.
I'll second the motion.
First and second. Any other discussion? Call for the vote.
Commissioner Wardell,
Yes.
Commissioner Chamberlain,
Yes.
Chairman Board Leader,
Yes.
motion passes. Next, I have for you a letter directed to the Laura Jane Musser Fund on behalf of the Museum of Friends for a Rural Arts Initiative grant.
Make a motion to approve the for letter of support for the Rural Arts Initiative grant.
Second.
First and second. Any discussion? Call for the
Yes,
vote.
actually, if you haven't been in Museum of Friends, it's a very good, well put together museum. They have mentioned to me they don't get as many people in there as they would like. It's right on the corner of 6th and Main. Stop in, take a look. It's very interesting, and the director and his wife are very knowledgeable in art and the goings on in Huerfano County.
Yeah, they have a lot of amazing
And a lot of-
displays. And everything.
Yes, displays and events. So I think it is a very good thing for them to get this.
Excellent. Any other discussion? Call for the vote.
Commissioner Chamberlain,
Yes.
Commissioner Wardell,
Yes.
Chairman Board Leader,
Yes.
motion passes. All right, next I have for you a request from Anthony Luganville and Robert Gilbert to approve joining APCO. What does APCO stand for, Robert? So APCO, while he's looking that up, is an international organization of public safety communications professionals. Joining the organization gives access to professional development, technical assistance, and discounted training options. The APCO Institute training will give us access to multiple certification programs and additional resources for our dispatch team. The membership is an annual fee of $1,012, renewed yearly, and provides licenses / memberships for a staff of 11 to 25 people.
Sounds good. Have a motion.
I make a motion to accept the APCO proposal from Anthony Luganville and Robert Gilbert in the amount of $1,012.
I'll second the motion.
First and second. Any other discussion?
You want the name first?
Second.
You want the name?
We'll work on that.
First and second. Call for the vote.
Commissioner Wardell,
Yes.
Commissioner Chamberlain,
Yes.
Chairman Board Leader,
Yes.
motion passes. All right, Commissioners, next I have for you a request to accept the Community Wildfire Defense Grant that Huerfano County applied for through the U.S. Forest Service. These funds will be subawarded to the county through the Colorado State Forest Service, and the term of the project runs through August 31st, 2027. While the project is a reimbursement grant, the grant is 100% grant with zero match required from county funds. The total amount of the grant is $180,000. And with this grant, the county will be creating a community wildfire protection plan.
I'll make a motion to accept the community wildfire defense grant in the amount of $150,000.
Second.
Have first and second. Any other discussion? Call for the vote.
Commissioner Chamberlain,
Yes.
Commissioner Waddell,
Yes.
Chairman Spurleader,
Yes.
motion passes.
Abbreviation is the Association of Public Safety Communications Officials.
Safety. Okay.
Thank you, Rob.
Yeah, thank you.
And everyone else that helped. All right, Commissioners, next I have for you a task order for KLJ Engineering. This is for GIS assessment services. You might remember that last year we entered into a similar task order for basically updating things as they come into the assessor's office. Make sure those updates get done regularly. Anthony, being one person, is stretched pretty thin, so this helps make sure these get done in a timely manner. The total amount of this task order is $25,000 and runs through the end of the year, so it's not to exceed $25,000.
I'm getting there. Already page.
Page 72.
Okay. We will pause for the train.
Yes. And the wildfire defense one. It's no bomb things after that.
He loves it. Make a motion to accept the task order. Not to exceed $25,000.
The second motion.
First and second. Any other discussion? Call for the vote.
Commissioner Waddell,
Yes.
Commissioner Chamberlain,
Yes.
Chairman Spurleader,
Yes.
motion passes. All right, next, Commissioners, I have for you a request to approve the budget for a backcountry search and rescue grant. This grant helps fund our search and rescue efforts, and the grant was previously approved, but the budget wasn't. So I request you approve this budget.
Total amount is
Total amount is $18,828.
We'll make a motion to approve the backcountry rescue grant in the amount of $18,420.
Second.
First and second. Any other discussion? Call for the vote.
Commissioner Chamberlain,
Yes.
Commissioner Waddell,
Yes.
Chairman Spurleader,
Yes.
motion passes. All right, Commissioner, next I have for you a purchase order number 2025-041 for governmentjobs.com. This is for our subscription for our applicant tracking program. And it's listed out as candidate text messaging subscription and Insight subscription. Insight is the program that we use to accept online applications and track them and track the applicants that apply for positions. Total amount is $7,068.99.
I make a motion to accept purchase order 2025-041 governmentjobs.com in the amount of $7,068.99.
Second motion.
First and second. Any other discussion? Call for the vote.
Commissioner Waddell,
Yes.
Commissioner Chamberlain,
Yes.
Chairman Spurleader,
Yes.
motion passes. All right, Commissioner, next I have purchase order number 2025-043 for SC Group. This is a request for additional changes to the county comp plan in the amount of $2,100. I expect we're ready to adopt the comp plan in April with the approval of this change order.
Make a motion to Approve purchase order 2025-043 in the amount of $2,100.
Second.
Second, any other discussion? Call for the vote.
All right, Commissioner Chamberlain,
Yes.
Commissioner Wardell,
Yes.
Chairman Spooner,
Yes.
motion passes. Last but not least, I have a request to approve vendor run for our our county property insurance bill in the total amount of $407,558. This insurance covers all of our buildings, all of our vehicles, and is split out amongst the various departments and funds in the county.
I make a motion to accept the invoice for the county insurance in the amount of $407,000, $407,558.
Second the motion.
First and second, any other discussion? Call for the vote.
Commissioner Wardell,
Yes.
Commissioner Chamberlain,
Yes.
Chairman Spooner,
Yes.
motion passes. That is the end of action items.
Okay. On correspondence.
All right, the only item I have for correspondence is a letter dated February 20th from the Kachara Foundation regarding opposition to proposed development at Kachara Mountain Park.
Oh, yeah, I knew it just had. Oh,
She has a copy here.
Hey, David
I'll
Gray.
find out that. No, okay, I have it, It's okay. Okay. Want me to read it? Out loud?
I don't think you need to read, I don't know if you need to read the letter.
I was very interested in seeing the amount of discussion that came through on the foundation and the park and everything of that nature. And it's kind of disturbing at how much information has been thrown out there that is not corroborated at all. We do not have these things that are being said that has been done. We do not have these things in place. And so if anybody would like to talk to the what you have seen, have you seen a contract? Yeah, there's the business plan that is the 3 phases or 4 phases. Is that what you're talking about? Yeah, we have the 4 phases business plan. And we've gone through, there's quite a few of them that have been addressed for over the years. And we have amazing volunteers that have done amazing work on that. And we're moving through probably 3 and into 4 as well. And it's just part of the plan for the park. There's nothing that has been set in stone. We do not have contracts to sell anything or some of those things. So I think there's a tremendous amount of misinformation out there. And, when we get to that point of having any kind of public discussion on what's going on, it'll happen. Nothing in stone. Sure.
You can to the-
If you come to the podium and say your name and address for the record.
My name is Jessica Lovelace, and I live at 130 Baker Creek Court in Kachara. I am part of the reason why some of this discussion has been brought about. I did write a letter to you all that was a personal letter, and I've instigated a community letter in order to help prevent some commercial development that could affect the neighborhood. And as well as the fact that no one knows what's going on, and all of a sudden these tiny homes were brought about. The Commercial hotel was brought about, and we're seeing a 75-year contract, which would be through the length of most of our lives, if not everyone's except our children's, that would affect the community. And so that's what the discussion is about. And the concern is, you know, how deep are we? Because there's no transparency on it. How deep are you into this as far as the lease agreement for the 75-year term? 50 years with 225 automatic renewables. And the development of the public space into essentially a private entity. And do we have a check on the fact that if this does fail, what are we going to do with all these tiny homes that are sitting on our lots and in a blighted community?
Well, I appreciate your comments. We don't have any of that in place.
Okay.
These are all discussions. Frankly, we've taken ourselves out of the situation for the most part and said to the entities up there, discuss, do you guys even want to work together? What is your thoughts? You know, who's going to take care of what? What are your, you know, thoughts and feelings about everything? And we left it up to them. And we have no contracts of sort that, you know, we've heard rumblings about tiny homes. We've heard about, what about dark skies? We've heard assurances from people that they'd be taking that into account and they have no desire to ruin any of these things. And that's it. We have nothing there. We have nothing that is solid. There's no signed contracts, none of that. Because if anybody has some information to that, show me, because we'd love to see it. We don't have anything.
Okay.
So it's when it comes to the time that they can actually work together on the whole possible plan, then it will be brought to us and we'll be able to go over it. We'll have our time for public discussion and all of those different situations. And then that's when we'll make the decisions on that. But we're putting the cart way before the horse. We don't even.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I do appreciate the time that you are spending to acknowledge it and letting me talk to you and speak with you about it. And I think the community just wants to know what's going on. So that's all.
Sure. Thank you, Jessica, for coming and presenting for the board. There were quite a few rumors going around about what's going on.
Sure.
The 75-year contract that you were referring to was the initial contract that started the conversation. Hanover Ski Corp wasn't comfortable with it, so the board rejected it.
Okay.
And that's when we asked Buckskin or Buckhorn to go to work with Hanover Ski Corp to come up with some sort of a plan together that would both benefit the community and the businesses up there.
Okay.
As far as the tiny home development, I have no idea what that is. I don't even think we could do that because it violates our own land use.
That was my understanding as well. So that's,
and so
You can't build small homes.
yeah, it's
Yeah, and that
we haven't seen-
might have been an initial thing, but it's not on the table.
Yeah, I
So
think I saw a
where did you
picture
hear
of
that?
Yeah, I think I saw a picture of one in somebody's email at one point. But
well, and it's in the business plan that I saw, it's listed under that. So that's
Are you
part
referring
of
to
it.
the yurts on the original master plan?
Yeah,
So that
yeah.
was done back in
18.
18, somewhere. That was done as more of a little guide for it, and that's kind of direction heading for that. And maybe the confusion with the tiny homes is coming in with these pods that we were looking at. And they'd be similar to like a yurt, they wouldn't be an actual tiny house.
Yeah, I think this is actually still separate from my understanding, because I think most people were fine with the yurts and because of it being under the master plan. This was a deviation from it.
Well, at the moment, we don't have anything.
Okay.
We're still waiting to hear back from Brett on what exactly he and PSC are come up with. So
Sure.
yeah, we wanted to stay away from it and said, hey, if you guys could work together, great. You guys figure it out, you know, and then come to us when you have a better idea.
Yeah.
And,
All right.
we're not selling.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, there's a,
That's partially, that was my understanding initially, and then I rewrote the 75-year lease when I amended it. So, so yeah.
Because we do want economic development in the county. We would love to see something happen up there.
Absolutely.
We have some jobs and everything, because if you want to have dark skies, you can have that really well if you have no economy. But I think we need to be smart about having some growth that will give our kids something to do other than move down.
Oh yeah. I mean, I have a 5-year-old. And I've always loved Kachera. I grew up coming here every year, and now we live here. And so I agree with you. I am all for someone investing into the community and growth and development. I just think that there should. Yes.
We're in complete agreement.
Okay, perfect.
Absolutely.
One more
Yeah.
comment. The way this process works, there will be ample time for public comment.
Okay.
So it's not just gonna happen and be like, oh my gosh, it is.
Yeah.
There'll be time.
Surprise. Yeah, not, yeah, we
That's
don't
not
do
gonna
that.
happen.
All right. Well, thank you guys very much.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you.
And then I have a question,
Mhm.
if that's okay.
Sure.
Online or in the audience here, are there any representatives from the Kuchera Foundation here? Okay, so who's online?
Hey, good morning. This is TR Beasley. I'm the treasurer for the Qatar Foundation.
Okay, welcome. Thank you. So my quick question is, number one, because the letter is not signed by anyone, it just says Kuchera Foundation Board of Directors. Did you all meet? Did you have a meeting? Did you all get together to compose this letter? And if you did, when was it? And was it properly noticed? And are there meeting minutes that I can take a look at?
Yeah, so we actually had several discussions over the last 2 months. We did a meeting with Brett McGraw back in January. I don't remember the exact date. Following that meeting, we kind of had a discussion from there, and we had a recent meeting, I believe, on February 4th. Don't quote me again on the specific date. I don't have it in front of me, where we discussed sending a letter to the board, to y'all. And then over the last week, we generated that letter virtually and went through and approved that as a board. So we do have a copy of the minutes. If that was something like you'd see, we could send that as well. I'd have to reach out to Amanda Holloman to coordinate for that, and if she hasn't typed it up in the last week from when we did our last kind of back and forth discussion.
Okay, thank you. I'd appreciate that.
Yep. And then, do you mind if I get a couple of clarity questions, just so I'm clear, kind of on this letter and everything else regarding the topic? You stated that, or one of you stated that there's no formal agreement, and really it was a Brett McGraw / Buckhorn Ridge to communicate with PSC. Are we saying that it is open for anybody to do that through concessionaires, or have y'all closed the RFP process that it's specifically going to be Buckhorn?
So we never quite closed that RFP process that was started in 23. But I think from where my head is at, I have a draft lease for PSC. I sent it to them last May before, Brett said, he was interested in the park. What we basically asked for is for PSC and Brett to explore together if there's a partnership there that can be formed. That lease for PSC is 30 years with, I think, a couple 1-year renewals. But we haven't gotten to a place with Brett where there's a deal imminent, there's a plan imminent, nothing of that sort. There's just a conversation that we asked to happen that we're waiting on. I believe PSC, I've got an email from Brett saying he's ready to have another meeting. I haven't got an email from PSC saying they're ready to meet again. That's where we're at. We're just waiting for that conversation to finish up. So.
Okay. And then on that, you're saying that there is currently a 30-year lease with option for PSC? Because I was tracking the most recent option you gave them was like a 3-year extension.
No, there's a draft of a lease that was sent to PSC in May of last year. That is for 30 years. It was never signed.
Was that never signed because an agreement never was reached by PSC, or it was a mutual thing with you and the county?
I would say that PSC was busy, and perhaps it's a better conversation to have with them. So we didn't hear back from them until like October of last year, by which Brett had raised his hand. So before we agreed to enter into a new agreement, we asked him to have a conversation.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to speak on that. I think there is some PSC members dialed in on that one, but I was not tracking that. And then my last question is, you said there's nothing going on as far as currently with Brett McGraw. Are we looking for doing specific contract work on the day lodge right now? Looking at a new roof and other things?
We have a grant from the Department of Local Affairs for the lift, for the maintenance building that PSC uses for a new roof on that building, as well as a garage door. And then there's some money there for the deck around the day lodge to be repaired. It's not in great shape. So yeah, those are the four components, and I don't think I missed anything else. I don't think there's a re-roofing for the day lodge on there, but I know there's not one on there yet, but I don't know if that's something that PSC might have planned. But right now, just that maintenance building needs a new roof before it deteriorates even further. And a wider
Okay.
door.
And and again, I'm just seeking clarity to be upfront, is that I'm tracking there was a guy out doing estimates and bids on the roof. Maybe it's for the maintenance building, who's actually one of Brett's subcontractors. And I think that's where some of this stuff starts to get convoluted, when it's like, hey, nothing's been agreed upon, nothing's been done, but then things are being done that are already connected to Brett. So can you provide some clarity there?
Absolutely. So on February 14th, the county had Garland and Company, I think it's Garland and Company. They're a roofing company. They have an Omnia Partners contract, which allows the county to work with them without going through a full RFP process. They already went through one. They are coordinating a series of bids for that maintenance building that I just mentioned. So they had a walkthrough on the 14th, I think at 11 o'clock. We included PSC and we sent it to Brett as well. Just if they have anybody that they want to recommend, send them on. The more vendors that we have for stuff like that, the better. More bidders, and they're going to put together bids. I think they're due in the next couple of weeks or so, in which case, and after that, Garland's going to put together a proposal for the county with who was the winning bidder, why they're the most qualified, if they were the cheapest or not, that kind of information, and the commissioners will vote to either approve or disapprove that whenever that's ready.
Okay. Thanks, Carl. I appreciate it. And then, yeah, just to close out, my due outs to y'all is you'd like a copy of the minutes, that kind of our discussion and when we last met, and the specific dates of when we talked to Brett. Was there anything else?
Nope, I think that'll do it. Thank you.
Yep, no problem.
Thank you.
Okay.
What was the name?
Ken Clayton.
Ken Clayton. You unmute.
Good morning, commissioners. Good morning, Carl. Just wanted to let you know that I was listening in. I think the confusion is on my end as far as the meeting. I've already emailed Brett, who's also listening in, and we're setting up a time to get together. A point of clarity on kind of why it stalled out back in May is we came to the former commissioners and who was Carl was in there, Commissioner Sporlatter, and we asked for a slowdown because of some maintenance issues up at the park, maintenance/repairs. We have, as Carl just stated, worked through those with the DOLA grant funding, and just letting you know, we will wrap this up with McGraw or with Brett McGraw ASAP.
Very good. Anything else? All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you guys for coming, and we apologize for the confusion.
Yeah. Yes.
Just
Can you come up? Say your name and address for the record.
Again, County Commissioners, thank you. My name is Jackie Christian. I'm a resident of Kachara for 31 years. I received a forward of the social media post that came out. And I don't participate in social media because it has the ability to spread error as truth. And I was forwarded this letter of inaccuracy, and in no way does this represent the interest of the majority of homeowners of Cuchara. I've sold real estate in our area for 24 years. I worked at the ski area prior to starting my company. And the majority of the people I've sold in that area, in Cuchara Pass area, have a heart to see that mountain restored, as well as myself. And I as well have contributed thousands of dollars to see that mountain come back to life. This letter that was posted that I saw this morning was signed the homeowners and residents of Cuchara. I just want our county commissioners to know I am a homeowner and a resident and have been there 31 years. And I oppose that putting my name as a participant. We want to see life breathed into this mountain. And I think a lot of the Cuchara Foundation, as well as others, want to see that happen. We want jobs for our young people. We want to see our young people remain in Huerfano County and have careers. And I think if the right parties take place in the Cuchara area, we can have that. So again, county commissioners, it breaks my heart to see this come out on social media and be blasted in such a way, naming you and a realtor, which I'm assuming may be me, because I brought Brett McGraw back in and asked him, please revisit our county. Please don't give up, because we need hope for this county and for Cuchara Mountain. And I know that the volunteers have worked diligently, and we appreciate all their hard work. But I think we need staff, and I think we need millions of dollars dumped into that mountain to make it succeed as it did 24 years ago. And I've seen it, as you've all heard before, I've seen it succeed. I've seen the ballet, the symphony, music venues brought to that mountain, and multiple dollars brought into our county. And so I just want you to know, as a resident, as the owner of the entrance to the ski area, I want you to know that we support the future hope for that mountain. And we support Brett McGraw. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Grant Monticelli, 702 County Road 358. We've got a lot of businesses in the community. During the busy season, we employ 45 to 50 people. We have a hard time coming up with enough employees to keep these businesses operational. We have a hard time coming up with enough people coming into the community to fill the hotels and the restaurants. Right now, we've got 46 rooms in Cuchara. We operate 30 on a good weekend. When we opened up the inn after being closed for so long, it hurt our neighbors. And there was feedback from that. They weren't as busy as they were the year prior to us opening our doors. There's a reason that Timbers has sat there closed for so long, is there's not enough volume of people to fill 3 restaurants and keep those people employed and keep those cooks there cooking and keep everybody coming in the doors. There is a shortfall. Now, as far as activities, we need to bring in something that brings in an influx of people to the community. I agree. Concerts. I grew up seeing on Cuchara. My family worked hard. We need concerts. We need things like that. But as far as more accommodations, there will be people that have been there for decades closing their doors because it is a battle and none of us are filling our pockets. We're mostly keeping the doors open, and that's how it works. So to bring somebody else into the community, you will see doors and you will see hours shortening and you will see stuff start to happen within the town of Cuchera that has kept it going for decades. Cuchera is a beautiful place. There's many of us that grew up there. There's many of us that spend all our days there. In the summer, in the winter, when it's windy. If we could figure out something to do with that wind to bring people in, we'd all be doing good. I would like you guys to think about this and the direction it takes as far as accommodations. I am fully for something happening on that mountain as far as activities, mountain biking, something to bring people in, concerts. But when we start thinking of accommodations, hotels, tiny homes, whatever it may be, you're hurting the people that have been there for decades digesting money. And we often are looking for our owner of our company to ingest more money in to keep the doors open. And that hasn't changed. We're finally gaining a little traction. I do have a question. January 23rd of 24, if you go back to the minutes, motion made to proceed with staff, direction to develop the deed restrictions and conditions necessary to transfer Cuchera Mountain Park back to the Cuchera Foundation, made by Spore Leader, seconded by Chairman Galusha. Voting yes, Chairman Galusha and Commissioner Spore Leader. Voting no, Commissioner Andrietta. That was January 23rd of 2024. Front page of the paper 2 days later, Huerfano County Commissioners vote to return the parts of the Cuchera Mountain Foundation. What happened with this? Is there something I'm missing on these meetings?
May I? So the commissioners directed, as you read that motion, for staff to work with the Cuchera Foundation to develop conditions for a transfer.
Right.
They did not authorize a transfer.
Okay.
Transfers are authorized by resolution of the board.
February 27th. Motion to accept Cuchera Mountain Park conditions to transfer change in wording in the second part of the condition, which should read, in the event the Cuchera Foundation has to pay property taxes and fails to do so for 2 years, the park will revert back to the county. Made by Spore Leader and second by Galusha. Galusha voting yes. Spore Leader voting yes. Andrietta voting no. Following that, the front page of the paper 2 days later. So as far as I remember being in the meeting, Miss Andrietta was very upset. They had the votes yes. They had to vote on the conditions. A month later, the conditions were met. Front page of the paper again, and the deed never changed hands. One thing that is very upsetting to me is every year with things that you guys need to be doing in this county, we are back here in this room discussing what's going to happen with this park year after year. It's a waste of your time. It's a waste of what you should be focused on. I wish that you'd go back, look at this, because I think that the deed needs to be handed over to the foundation. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Grant.
Want me to say something?
Sure, come on up. We'll just make it a full Monty.
Ron Jameson, live at 13201 State Highway 12, Levita. Most of you here are newcomers as far as I'm concerned. I'm the only true resident of Cuchera. I was born at Yellow Pine. So, and I've struggled with making a living in the Cuchera Valley all my life. My great-grandparents, or my great-great-grandfather homesteaded Pine Haven in 1896. So we've been here a little while. I don't like it when people from outside say we don't need growth. We need growth. We've got to succeed. We've gone 25 years with nothing happening. I'm glad to see the golf course is finally doing something, but the ski area is stagnant. It needs to go back into private hands. I'm not talking foundation. I'm talking private hands and get back to be a legitimate business. I think if they were a legitimate business, they might succeed. It did it with 2 owners. The other ones weren't really good management, so it didn't succeed. There's a lot of complaining that it's the wind and the snow and everything, but if you have a desire to make a business work, you can. So please look at it as a viable business in the community. I would like to get it back to where I could work in Huerfano County and didn't have to work from Wyoming to New Mexico. We were a hometown business at one time, but without growth, we can't survive. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron.
Thank you, Ron.
Anything else online? Okay. Staff reports.
All right. So commissioners, open positions, we have auto mechanic, DHS call center technician, and deputy officer, detention officer. Talking with Dustin yesterday, I expect that he's going to extend that auto mechanic position open, try to get a few more candidates in. But that's a position of big importance for the county, of course. The open solicitations currently have the county attorney RFP that closes on the 27th. Thank you. And then we also have closed the RFP for marketing public relations, as well as one for accounting services. The marketing public relations one, we're going to have interviews on March 3rd. We're going to review the accounting services, I think, tomorrow. Open positions for boards, board of review, board of adjustment, and building authority. I know we have at least one candidate for both building authority and board of review. I have a thought that I want you guys to think about for a little bit. It's not urgent at all, but in some counties, the Board of County Commissioners serves as the Board of Adjustment. It's high level. This is the last case appeals thing. In this county, I would say that's usually just not been considered a great idea. That way it's more, there's less politics involved. But I do wonder if perhaps that might be a thing that might be considered again. We should have that conversation at some point. Maybe it's not completely you guys being the board, but maybe it's probably joining it. There's not a whole lot of conflicts between the county commissioners and the Board of Adjustment because it's not really an advisory board, it's an appeals board. And after something is decided there, it goes to the courts, it does not come here. So, but other than that, I think we're in good shape. And that is the end of my admin report.
And county attorney.
And unless you have other questions, I believe, I have updates for the 4 ongoing cases we have that I think we discussed in executive session. But questions for open session? Happy to.
I don't have anything offhand.
Yeah, all I have is the updates on the 4 open cases.
No, okay. Now we do have a need for executive session. Did you already?
So Chair would like to make an amendment to add
You wrote that down. No, that's-
Healthcare Partners Foundation versus Newman to executive session.
You gotta read out the whole.
Okay, or I get it.
Yeah.
I just-
I'll make a
didn't write
motion
down the
to go
last.
into executive session for conferences with the county attorney for the purpose of receiving legal advice on specific legal questions under CRS 24-6-4224B, Arias versus Newman, Birch case, De Herrera and Guerrero versus Benson. And then with the addition of Healthcare Partners Foundation versus Newman.
Perfect.
Second.
No.
No.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh,
Sorry.
yeah. No decisions or what is it? No decisions will be made during the time of executive session. And can I adjourn?
You gotta call for a vote first.
Oh, call for the vote for adjournment.
No, just
Or-
for the regular session.
Okay. Elaine from Cynthia.
It's been interesting.
Sounds like.
Commissioner
good call
Chamberlain,
for takers.
Yes.
Commissioner Odell,
Yes.
Chairman Sporley.
Yes.
Motion passes. We got a question from Eric.
Oh. Did you have a question online?
Yeah, this just a kind of a request for Mr. Young. If you could get me, maybe scan a copy into a PDF and send me the stats on that point in time. Just the sheet she gave you today. I'll try to access the whole document later. But found that very interesting. And thank you for the interview yesterday.
Thank you. It's always great to talk to you. Hannah's going to get that to you as soon as she can.
Okay, thanks much.
Thank you. Is that it? And another online?
No, that's it.
Oh, okay. All right, very good. Go for the vote.
You already did that.
Okay, we are adjourned at 11:15
Recessed.
or recessed, I mean. And we'll come back for the meetings we have upcoming meetings at 2 p.m. emergency management workshop and 1 p.m. for a workshop with Caterpillar. Thank you very much.
And, Mr. Chair, if you'd like to tell the public that don't anticipate any further action after the executive session.
Yeah, we will not participate in any extra action after executive session. Thank you.
Everyone's sitting on the edge of their seats.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Yeah. 11:16, we're adjourned.
Recessed.
Recess.